Donna G for you guys. This is Psilocybs. Featuring Jack Hollows and Almade. Okay. Let's do this. It's going to be really awkward, the fact that Donkey's going to be interviewing Donna for a bit. Oh, geez. Oh, shit.
It's fire, fire, Cracker Jack, want a piece, call me pumpkin spice. Sally with the stitches, wanna fight. I can't feel shit, got a candy apple booty and it's fucking tight. I'm devilish, a trickster if you will, conversing with ravens. I'm hellbait, it's ill. Trick or treat in the street, don't forget to pay me. I'm flipping the pound, I'm a fucking goblin, ain't no way.
Oh shit! Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest to the show, Donna G. Where's my thing? There it is. How are you doing? Thank you for being here on the show.
So, yeah, it's been a while.
And his name is John Cena.
The chat's been spamming the John Cena thing I have in my, like, Twitch redemptions, and now it's just coming, but...
Sorry, I need context.
Okay,
John Cena?
Yeah, so I'm a wrestling fan, and so for, like, one of the soup points I have, which is basically just points you can accumulate while watching the show and kind of interact, I have, like, the intro of John Cena's theme going, because it was, like, a huge meme in 2015, because, long story short... A dude was told by his wife he was no longer allowed to watch wrestling in the household, and some local radio DJs found out about this and just trolled the living piss out of her with that theme. Like, just calling, being like, "Hey, ma'am, do you support the local Marines?" "Oh, you do? Well, that's great, because we just wanted to inform you that one of our former Marine members, John Cena, is defending the Universal title today against The Undertaker at Super Slam." And it got ridiculous. So I have that as one thing. I also kind of start off the show with that after the countdown, just as a hype thing. And this is what happens when you put something out there. Some people go, "Yes, I will abuse this." And you guys, feel free to do that. Just not while we're listening to songs or doing interviews. If you want to fuck me over all you want, feel free. I will acknowledge this. But Donna, thank you for taking the time for being on the show, and also thank you for rescheduling, because I know we were supposed to have you on a while ago and things just didn't work out, and I'm glad we were able to get you on right away again.
Yeah, it was. I was on my way back from visiting family. Highway was icy. We had to drive super slow, and it was just like didn't line up. But yeah, I'm glad we could reschedule, because I always have a good time on the stream.
Fuck yeah. Well, for those that don't know, feel free to introduce yourself to everyone here.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Donna G. I'm also known by, I guess, my name, Nagasa Gould. I'm a musician, actor, performance artist. I was in the metal band Fifth Circle for a while. Now I'm kind of focusing on solo stuff and a bit of comedy as well.
Okay, so you're not in the Fifth Circle anymore. Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, no, the Fifth Circle is actually just kind of on an indefinite hiatus right now. I don't want to say too much, because it's definitely a case of, like, like nothing bad happened or anything. We just kind of all, we had family matters to tend to. We had other things going on in our lives. We had other projects. So we decided to just kind of take a step back and just focus on other things for a while. Sometimes you just need to let things just kind of fall into place. And sometimes that place is on the back burner for a little while.
That's a hard thing for even just one person to come to the conclusion of for themselves. But I think it's very huge for a project to acknowledge, like, No, I think it's better just to take a break and let it come back to itself when it seems like it works for everyone, because everyone else has their other stuff going on. And that's, it sucks to see a band have to do it, but on the other hand, it's huge props to the maturity within the project and everyone involved then at that point, because, I mean, it could be far worse at that point, just trying to force something for the sake of forcing it.
Exactly. And I find with bands, it can, because keep in mind too, a solo project is so different from a band. A band is like, it's 5 people. That's 5 individuals with lives and maybe other things they want to pursue. And it gets, I feel like we were getting to the point where it was really hard to make things work for everybody. And we didn't want to be the kind of band where we want to force any certain member to do anything they don't want to do or don't have time for. We didn't want to, have to part ways with any members. So we just decided, let's just step back and, still be friends and just kind of, just let things happen. And that's why we didn't post an official statement on our social media or anything, because we didn't want to 100% say that we're like done. We didn't want people thinking that, and that anything bad happened or anything like that. It's just, it is what it is.
100% understandable. And I feel like those 2 years that everyone had to go through when things were really difficult in regards to like not being able to go anywhere, not really knowing how live music in itself is going to work for a while. I feel like a lot of bands and even just artists in general came to, I guess not even just artists, but I feel like we really had to, like, personally for ourselves, with that now not being an option for the longest time, really look at ourselves and figure out, okay, I don't have that outlet I used to have to deal with all this. I guess it's time to deal with all this in a different way. And it's been cool seeing the growth in a lot of people through that. We had Mikey Bastard on from Citizen Rage last week, and I thought he was a really good example of that and how he fought through everything and finally acknowledged, like, okay, no, I need to look at myself a bit more, and okay, no, I got to do this and just move forward with myself and everything. And it's interesting hearing everyone's different stories from that time, but I don't really want to focus on that right now, because I'm really interested in what you're doing right now, knowing that Fifth Circle is kind of on the back burner right now. What is it you're focusing on?
Kind of more my solo project, which is Donna G. It's I'm getting the hang of production kind of at home. Like I do everything myself. I've done a couple collaborations, but for the most part, Donna G is 100% produced by myself. And I direct all my own music videos. I do my own art. So it's kind of, I guess it's not just a musical project. It's also an art project more than anything. Performance art, visual art. I want it to be like a complete project, really. And I think it's definitely like I have years worth of music in my computer right now. And I think it's definitely going to be one of those projects that's not going to really make sense to a lot of people for like a few years. It's like, Donna G is kind of like this character. It's almost like a caricature that I've created who's based on me, but also, a character. And so this project Donna G is kind of the story of that character. And
okay.
So but it's also, it's also very personal for me. Like the song I just released, Vigilante, is about gentrification, which is, a huge problem facing the neighborhood I'm from. I don't know if you know, but I'm from the downtown east side in Vancouver. And gentrification is it's something that's really, affecting the community. There's the opioid crisis. It's kind of just like a combination of factors that are causing this thing. So Vigilante is kind of, it's about that, it's about kind of feelings of rage and, feeling angry at colonial society, angry at the police, at people with a lot of money. It's kind of about all of that.
Okay. It's good that you're using that outlet for it too, because I find music's a way a lot of people can connect and address those issues, because it's been, oh God, man, time goes by way, way too long. It's been about a decade since I've been in Vancouver, and I was only in there for a day or two and passing on my way to Seattle to check out Warped Tour. But I can only imagine what it's like growing up in that area, than watching everything like change around it. I'm from a pretty small town, so it's kind of felt like we're constantly just like 10, 15 years behind the rest of everyone else in regards to everything in architecture, as well as just overall community connection, if that makes any sense. Like, it feels like it takes a while to catch up to like where bigger cities kind of are. But it's really interesting how that comes out. We're gonna have to check out that song because we didn't get a chance to check that out beforehand. We checked out Aqua Tofana.
Oh, you played Aqua Tofana?
Yeah, we did. We played that one, and I'm just gonna go back quickly to check what was the other one we checked out. It was Psilocybes.
Oh, so that was a Halloween song. Yeah. I think Aqua Tofana is definitely a song that I don't think it sounds. Actually, I took it off Spotify because I don't think it sounds as good as a standalone song. I think it's like definitely a song that's meant to go with the video.
The video, I was going to say while watching it, because with you explaining like how you're completely self-produced, that excites me because I got into self-production for like my metal shit and all my punk shit quite a few years ago, and it's cool watching people grow as they dabble into it because we all can take so much away from everything that's in that little DAW. Like, you load up the plugins, you load up the tracks, and you're just like, holy crap. And it's interesting seeing what everyone kind of goes into and does. And so with knowing that you're self-produced, it's going to be really cool hearing that kind of expand as you grow, because the one thing I was really impressed by with the track was, like, you were going to bring up the video, and I liked how you were seemingly focused on making sure that the track and the video were cohesive with each other and almost symbiotic in relationship. Like, one can't really live without the other. Like, you could maybe get the gist, like, just watching the video on mute and get the idea of it, but the context and the subtext of everything is within the lyrical aspect of it. And as a standalone song, I don't think it would be that bad, but it definitely hits harder, I think, with the visual medium. So I guess on that matter, I just want to say congrats on that, because I'm always impressed by any independent artist, especially Canadian. Nothing against my American friends out there. It blows me away what you have access to sometimes when I see the videos or hear the production that comes out. I'm just like, the fuck? Okay. Indie band. Okay, whatever. And then I feel in Canada we have our own kind of like, not standards, but sounds and overall level of what's considered a kind of indie underground sound and vibe. And I find it way cooler and way more impressive to like see what the Canadians are doing. And that's nothing against my American friends. I know you're in the chat. Don't hate the Canadian.
Well, there's the term, I don't know if you've heard it, Canada famous, right? Where like, if you're a Canadian artist, you can only supposedly blow up to a certain extent, which is not true. I mean, you look at artists like, we've got Drake, Devin Townsend.
We hate to admit it, but Nickelback. We hate to admit it, but like, even though they're the most talked about joke in rock, the fact that they get as much namesake thrown around as they do, it's just like, No, I wish Rush was getting a bit more attention, but at least there's someone from Canada out there. Wish it wasn't Chad, but oh well, we can't pick everyone.
Yeah, totally right. Yeah, but there's like, it's definitely harder to break into the American market if you are from Canada. I think it's just, like you said, the stuff that American artists have access to is very different. But at the same time, I know that the American market is also very saturated. So I think that's also a point to be considered.
Definitely. I feel like they're almost like they're forced to be able to almost sound like a level or label size band, like from the gates. If you can't hit like label quality and like major label quality off the hop, best of luck. Best of luck. There's so many bands there. I have two questions actually from chat, and I don't want to forget them before they get lost in here. There seems to be a million aspiring rappers out there. When you started, did you try to create music and things to separate yourself and stand out on purpose, or did you just make what you wanted without regard to the competition out there?
I think that competition, and it's interesting you mentioned, I guess, the idea of competition, because it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. Now that I'm like, officially doing a solo project, trying to market it, obviously, but also trying to maintain artistic integrity. I think that as far as competition goes, it's a factor, but like I don't think of music in a competitive way. I just try to I try to think of like, okay, what is uniquely mine, and what can I make stand out about myself in a way that's not like, purposely, with I want to be different, but more just like, okay, what's unique about me? I'm going to, try to kind of lean into that. And I don't even really consider myself a rapper as much as I do a producer and just an overall musician. Like I think one of the first songs I actually posted on my YouTube it was like an ambient song, and it was like kind of sad.
Hey, we all have those moments. We all have those moments where it's just the sad has to come out.
Yeah, and as I mentioned too with Donna G, she's a character, and the next few years of my releases are definitely going to be telling the story of this character, and I'm kind of the hip hop element of my music is definitely right now a part of the character's early origin.
Okay.
Just because of where I'm from, hip hop is so ingrained into the culture, and I grew up with a lot of hip hop around me. My mom actually used to listen to the 8 Mile soundtrack in the car for a little bit. She had a little bit of a phase there where she was doing that. So it was kind of all it was all a part of my musical journey, and I really love hip hop. I listen to a lot of it on my own time, and I also listen to a lot of metal. So I think I definitely wanted to combine those elements in a way that was uniquely mine, and I undoubtedly know that is kind of something that can set me apart from other artists. But it's not like it's all I care about. Like it's not like I'm like, I want to just be different than everybody, because you can only go so far with that.
100%. And I also like that they brought up competition too, because, and I know this comes from my background of like athletics, because I played a lot of high school athletic sports, but I've always viewed competition as it's only really healthy if you use it with the right mindset. Like if you're at a show and you want to compete with your other bands in regard to like crowd reception and just be like, oh shit, these guys fucking killed it. I guess we're just going to have to do like really amp up our game today, guys. Like no holding back. Like let's just fucking give her everything we got and just go hard. Like that's where I find it's healthy, because it's inspiring. You see someone do well, you want to do just as well, if not a little better, because there is that little bit of a drive, but it's not in a slight, because the moment you get off the stage, regardless of it, you're still going to chat with everyone, congratulate everyone on what they're doing, have a good time, watch the other bands, and just enjoy what they're doing. It should only ever be like a hype up for you getting ready to embrace that persona that you embrace when you get on stage, because I always find that is a separate entity from you off stage. Like there is a you are the same person, but your mindset and how you're presenting yourself, it's more performative. And if you use like that inspiration of watching people killing it on stage to hype you up and get ready to go kill it on stage, that's where it's healthy. Where it's unhealthy is when you start to compare yourself to everyone around you and start being like, oh, God damn it. No, that bassist is just, I don't know.
That's a creativity killer. It's a creativity killer. Once you start doing that, you can't stop.
Yeah, and it really puts you down, because now you're not allowing yourself to accept your strengths. You're focused on your shortcomings. And like if you can focus on them to overcome them, that's one thing. But 99% of us just hyperfixate on them and then end up in our little ruts for however long and go, oh, fuck, I don't know what to do. Until one day, either you or someone else just goes, just fucking do the thing you do. You're good at what you do.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like knowing your strengths is so important. Right now, I'm reading The Art of War, and it's about war, obviously, but it's also about strategy, and it can be applied to music and business. And it definitely has a lot in there about, I guess, the philosophy of knowing your strengths and knowing, like you said, knowing what you're good at, knowing what's uniquely yours. Like, I know for a fact, like, I've played all hip hop shows before, and I already know walking in there that I'm different than all the other rappers there. It doesn't mean I'm better. I'm just different, right? Mm-hmm. I go there in full on face paint. I did this show where I brought Bloody Betty up with me, who's a performance artist.
Oh shit, cool.
And she was pretty much entirely naked. She had like fake blood all over herself, and like it was like, and so many people at this fucking hip hop show were just like, "What the fuck?"
It's like, welcome to what happens at a couple metal shows a few times a year. It's just good entertainment.
Totally. And I feel like I've also been kind of trying to bridge a lot of metal and hip hop together as somebody who likes both and who is involved in both communities. Because I feel like they have so much to offer each other, and so many people view them as such, separate scenes, when really, to me, like, I know a lot of people who like both kinds of music and who go to both shows. And so, like, I've been putting together shows that are a little bit of hip hop and metal, and they've all gone really well. We've had no beef. We've had no drama. Everyone gets along. People like both things. Like, we did a Halloween show where we had the hip hop stage, quote, quote, was upstairs. The metal stage was downstairs, and I saw so many people at both stages that some guys had patch vests, some people were like totally, looked like they'd only listen to hip hop, but you'd be surprised. Everyone liked both and had a great time.
That's something I've always encouraged, and I love hearing other people doing the multi-genre thing, being like, no, let's throw these two together, because a lot of people don't realize we are very much rooted in the same shit. Like different personifications and ways of voicing it, but I used to do a lot of show promotion and organization for about a decade here, and for a good stint of that, I was constantly being like, no, we put everything together in a hodgepodge. We make sure no one gets tired, everyone has fun, new fans, everyone does well. And when we did the metal and hip hop night specifically, man, watching the hip hop crew get in the mosh pit and just fucking go, that made me so happy, because it just made me realize, like, no, there are things about this that can connect, and vice versa. There are things that the rappers do that can connect within the metal industry, whether it's the way the beat hits or the way the rapper uses rhythm or melody or both with their voice to kind of accentuate different things, because there's going to be a couple screamers out there being like, oh shit, that was actually okay. I'm gonna keep that one in mind. That would be brutal with like either a guttural or a fry on it. Okay, yeah, no, note taken. And it also allows more expansion in both sounds, which is something, as someone who, like, I started in hip hop when I was like stupid young, but then easily like just kind of pushed it to the side and went right into rock and metal, and still appreciate it and dabble in it from time to time. But watching how like emo and metal and like that scene kind of thing from the late 2000s, early 2010s thing has been seeping into like the hip hop scene more and more throughout the last decade, and just being like, oh fuck, okay, now let's look the other way. Oh, we got bands like Code Orange. Oh, Limp Bizkit's back. All right, let the new metal wave begin. Let's now just put them all together. And we're watching larger bands do that too now, which I think is fucking brilliant. Like, I love that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that it's something that I think it happened in the 90s, and then like I mean the crossover of hip hop and metal. I think it happened in the 90s, and then it was just quiet for a while, and I think it's coming back. So, I'm really excited to be mixing the two influences, because I think like for a long time I felt like very stuck between the two things, and then eventually I started a solo project, and I was just like, I'm just gonna do both.
Fuck, just do you and let it come out naturally.
Yeah. And I think also just having that experience too of like being on stage with a metal band definitely helped me. Just kind of, developing my sensibility on an instrument, but also just like my ability to be on stage and deal with the crowd, deal with the public.
That is something. You don't really think about it till you get up there for the first time, and you're like, oh, there's actually people here. Shit. And then you get onto it, like that first show, like nothing beats like the realization that first time you get on stage. Metallic is asking, indica, sativa, or hybrid? Also, what strain's in the blunt?
Ooh, actually, I was about to spark it, but I'm just looking for my lighter. I
have two here. I can't help though. You're too far.
This is a little mixture. I used to be more of an indica person, but I'm kind of I'm friends with sativa again.
Sativa and I, we're homies.
Yeah. It's so this blunt is some Suzy Q that I grew. and then a mystery sativa and some diesel.
Ooh.
Yeah, Suzy Q is it's a 50-50, or maybe it's 75-25. Anyway, it's like a THC CBD 50-50 strain. I just really like it because it's got a great flavor to it. It grows really freaking well here. I don't know what it is. It just loves my climate here. And I just feel like it's important to consume a bit of CBD with your THC, no matter how much THC you plan on taking.
You know what? Very wise, sage advice. Somewhat. Find that later, and we'll spark it together.
I'm going right now. I think it's over here.
See, I told you we'd get to it. I told you we'd get to it, Metallic. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to throw them in that chat as well. This is fun.
We got my Snoop Dogg featuring Martha Stewart lighter.
Oh, that's tight. Awesome. Well,
did you see that commercial?
Yeah. It blew my mind when, I don't remember when. It was like between 2012 and 2015. When they announced Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart were friends. Then he like goes on his show and they do some cooking. I'm like, wait, what? Also, I guess that would make sense. Like, did Martha Stewart get hard in prison? Is that what happened?
Tax evasion or something.
Yeah.
Which is ironically something a lot of rappers have also done time for.
Guys, if there's one thing we've learned, if there's one thing that'll get you in the States, it is the IRS. Like, that's what took out Capone. Like, that's one you don't want to fuck with.
Yeah. Well, it's, yeah, I mean, when you make that much money and you have that many different checks coming in, you lose track of one,
it's game over, man.
Shit.
It's game over. Donna, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Pin D says you're extremely diverse, so he's curious. Like, what do you think, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years here?
I don't know. I like to set goals, but I also don't, I also can't predict the future. So I think in 5 years, I'm hoping to have at least 2 albums out. And I'm hoping to have gone on a tour across Canada by then. That's the dream.
Oh, I have a feeling that's really good to know, and I like the realism in that. Metallic, know that I will get to yours. I'm not gonna forget that one, but I like the realism in that because I feel like a lot of people can get very transfixed on setting a plan and then getting real aggravated or just put down and depressed when it doesn't go that way, or you don't hit a timeline, you don't get things done by a certain date, and it throws a few things back. Like everything within what we do as musicians, especially, the more people involved, the more chances there are of things slowing down, because with more people involved, the more life factors you have to put into place with that. Because everyone's contributing, and things can go wrong. Murphy's Law exists for a fucking reason, and
yeah, it's almost impossible. Like yeah, I think setting goals is important, but like I find and this is something I've been thinking about a lot. But like I find a lot of people, especially in the entertainment business, they talk about a 5-year plan. How if you don't have a 5-year plan, you're not going to be successful. And I honestly think that's bullshit, because you don't know what the hell is going to happen in the next 5 years. Like, but I think that's also just because in my own life, I've had a lot of fucking curveballs. And so I know for a fact that like, you cannot predict life.
No, 100%. Life is completely unpredictable. And
yeah.
And Metallic here is asking, would you be willing to work with a dubstep producer? And if so, what is the best way to contact you?
Well, I have on my Instagram, I have my management email there, and that's where all the business inquiries go.
Here, let me find that for you. Let me find that Instagram for you there, Metallic. And while I do that, you brought up hurdles, and I think like those are the things that are really difficult for us to get over, especially as musicians. Again, I brought up the whole, like, we can transfix ourselves on certain things, and sometimes that in itself creates the hurdles. I'm curious for you, what are some main ones that you've had to really, what are some hurdles you've had to personally get over the past few years that have really kind of helped put you where you are now?
Ooh, that's a very good question, and it's a question with a pretty long answer.
That's okay. That's okay. We are all ears.
Yeah, well, I think just I mean, even just starting my career was I think a hurdle in itself, because I guess like I used to be a street busker. Like, this is how I started like getting serious about music, and I guess just being an entertainer in general. I was a street busker from East Van. I moved out when I was 15, right? So, I mean, obviously being a 15-year-old living by yourself in the downtown East Side comes with its own difficulties and adversities. But yeah, I mean, I was living in an SRO in the downtown East Side, and I got a role on Degrassi, right? So, so that was I think, like, yeah, that was a huge thing in itself. Just like going to Toronto alone at that age, and being on like a show that's on these major networks. It was like a lot. Like, so just like starting my career and setting myself up in a time where I had gotten so used to just being a street kid that was just getting bullied by society like every day.
Yeah, I just got to say too, because, you know, it's not something a lot of people will admit, but like there was a point in time where Much Music was one of the only things to watch. So I caught a fair share of Degrassi around like the late 2000s era. That was when I watched, but I just wanted to say, damn, like that's really cool. I actually didn't know that about you. Like, that's really fucking cool. Because this is one thing I do, and a lot of people, like, it's weird to say, but I like having like those really like the reactionary almost interviews where like we're meeting each other for the first time. Like, I'll look into like what you're up to now, like, so I can at least like have a plate to like start with. But like, I like learning about people organically, because like, much like the people that are watching too, like, I'd rather like have an honest reaction and be like, oh shit, that's like really cool, rather than be like, so yes, tell me about the Degrassi years. I looked into your Wikipedia and found out that you were once a part of the cast there. Tell me about that. So
yeah, no, I like the authentic interview too. Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, no, I just want to say that's really cool. Like, damn.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, but it was really hard though. Like, going from the world of being like essentially like, yeah, a street punk in Vancouver, and then going to like a major TV set, and then going to like MTV events. Like, oh, my first MTV event, I was just so fucking high, and I didn't know that I would be talking to fans, and I didn't know I had fans until I got there, and then it was just like, it was weird. But I mean, since then it's been, I mean, dealing with the public was really hard. Getting used to being in the public eye, like I said, when you come from somewhere where you're literally just like bullied by society every day, is the best way I can, or bullied by capitalism more than anything. Coming from a neighborhood like I do, and just being a young Indigenous woman, kind of like, fending for myself. But yeah, I mean, since then it's been, yeah, I guess dealing with being in the public eye and the stress that comes with that. But then also, I guess I like to describe it as like maintaining, or I guess gaining control of my artistic energy, because I feel like, especially as a young female, when people start to look at you as a product, and it took me a really long time to come to terms with that, because in my head I was just like, no, I'm myself. I know myself. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm involved in. And then I started to get more and more involved in this industry, and start to realize that there were a lot of people that saw me as a product. Like, they were trying to control, like the TV networks when I was on the show were trying to control like the kind of things I posted on my social media. They excluded me from a lot of the promo because, I was posting about uncomfortable things that, they just, that weren't, it's teen programming, right?
Yeah.
They expect you to express yourself a certain way. And, I just didn't get it.
That's completely fair.
Yeah, but again, artistic energy, right? Like, a lot of bands also, approach me to be in their band, obviously because they just wanted a girl in their band, right? And things like that were things that I had to deal with. I literally, in a band that I was in previously, not the Fifth Circle, it was a band way before that. The front man when I was like 19 he was like an older guy, quite a bit older than me, and he was trying to tell me that like I should use my sexuality more to like promote the project and stuff. And I was just like even at the time I was so young, like I knew that was wrong. I was just like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, like there's two things I wanted to touch on there. I'll touch on that one too first, because that's one thing that I'm glad we're starting to get past it, because it's almost like making sure that you have female fronted in your moniker. Like the intention behind it is like we get it, trying to stand out, because especially when it was starting to become a thing, women weren't really being looked at in metal. There was the few that you could pick out, like the vocalist of Lacuna Coil, both the vocalists from Arch Enemy, but they were few and far between and not really pushed within the genre. But then it almost turned into a trope that I felt certain bands and musicians were just trying to occupy the space of, not because they were actually like, fuck yeah, no, we're stoked that we have this vocalist who just happens to be female and kicks ass. No, it's like, no, we are banking on this person doing things to get eyes on us to do things. And it's like, this,
yeah,
it's not right. Like,
but it's a hard thing to navigate too, because, you know, even as a female artist, you obviously, you know, like I said, as an artist, when it comes down to it, no matter who you are, you want to capitalize on what's unique about you. And when you are a female in a genre, especially like metal, where it is so like, I don't like to say that it's male dominated, but the male to female ratio is kind of undeniable, right? Yeah. So, you know, so obviously, you know, as a female in metal, it's like, yeah, I probably should capitalize on what I can, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you don't want that to reflect on your collaborators, right? Or how that reflects on you. Because I think my favorite example of this actually is, I don't know if you know the band Cinnamon Babe.
No, that name sounds familiar though.
Well, she's gotten very popular in the past year. That's probably why. You've definitely seen her on social media. But she's really, really a fascinating person to me right now. She's based in LA, I believe. And she started this, it's like a hip hop influenced metal project, right? And it's like her project. Her name is Stormy Maya. Okay. And she hires musicians for her project. But her personal Instagram is literally just all videos of her shaking her boobs and like wearing bikinis and like.
Hey, and if that's what you want to do, like.
But because her band has gotten so freaking popular, and they only have like, I think like 3 or 4 songs out right now. Yeah. And she's really great at the clap back. Like, you know, like her social media presence, like she claps right back at haters, makes response videos all the time. Hell yeah. And it's pretty badass to see, right?
I guess what I was trying to say is that, like, I feel like if we use her as an example, especially, like, that should not be the only way a female artist can go about things, though. You know what I mean? Like, if it's like a choose your own character, there should be a multitude of different ways you can go about it without being like, no, there's like these 2 or 3 ways that'll gain you anything that the industry deems as worthwhile just for being who you are within the band.
Yeah, the sad thing is that it's not the only way, but it's the fastest way, and so many people end up just going with that. And like, no hate to anybody who does, right? No. So I think and I feel like what I try to do with my project too is like I try to not shy away from using kind of sexual elements in stuff, but I try to do it in like a way that doesn't rely on it solely, you know, like I'll use it to make something funnier or scarier or like.
It's not a crutch, is it? It's another color added to the palette. It's not the foundation of everything. It's something else you use.
Yeah, like I released a video. I released another. I love releasing Halloween songs. I just think it's fun, and I love Halloween.
I couldn't tell by the onesie. I couldn't.
I love this onesie. I love onesies for like cold season. It's just like, yes. And I just feel like I feel like I haunt my own house. You know, I'm just like, you know.
I get it.
Yeah, but I released a video that I made for a song called "Spooky Dreams," and I twerk in the video, but like I sped it up and like edit it with a bunch of like old cartoons. Because I wanted it to be funny. Like, I didn't want to twerk in a way that was just like, yeah, look at me, right? I wanted it to be like...
It's a joke.
It was funny. Like, I never twerk in my videos. Like, you know, people would see that and be like, what the fuck, right? Like...
Just tongue-in-cheek. Tongue-in-cheek. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a really quick clip. Like there's no way, like, yeah, it's really funny to me. I thought it was funny and I put it online. I don't know how many other people thought it was funny, but
Yeah, it's funny because if I just hover over the thumbnail, it's like the third or fourth image that pops up, just like a brief few seconds of that frame, and it's actually kind of hilarious knowing that subtext behind it. It's like
thank you.
You're welcome. The other thing I wanted to touch on, and it's a kind of a build off learning about the Degrassi thing, and especially like the time frame of it, because obviously someone not really at all within the industry anymore is like literally just a consumer at the age of like throughout the 2000s as a kid. That era, looking back on it, was very much hyper centered on the person as the product. And we've watched a lot of individuals that were that, especially in the early 2000s, late 90s onward, become not, I don't want to say become unstable, but being unable to deal with where they're at now because they were used in such ways throughout all that time without actually be giving whatever support structures they legitimately needed. I was reminded that, unfortunately, with Aaron Carter committing suicide a few weeks ago.
Oh shit! I did not know about that. That's whoa.
Yeah, that someone, a buddy of mine who's really into hip hop, sent me the thing about that. And I was like, that sucks. Like that, it's another showcase of someone who got consumed by the worst aspects of the industry at a young age. Because growing up as someone who wants to like work in some way within entertainment, knowing that side of it is also very scary and very intimidating, because that's definitely nothing I want to ever encourage or reinforce in whatever influence I have, whether it's someone putting on shows, working with bands, even within my own music. I like in no way do I want to ever be incorporated with that. But also as an artist, there's that almost acceptance that to get to a certain point, there might not be a choice. And that's really disgusting. But for you, I got to say, A, you seem like you got your stuff together. So it seems like you figured out what you had to do for you. And I'm just curious, like, what was that? You kind of briefly talked about it, but what was that like for you? Like really having to not come to terms with how the industry saw you, but figure out how to still be yourself within that environment and kind of, I guess, claim whatever individuality you could.
A lot of saying no and a lot of being broke.
You know, that
I think that's the thing. I said no. I said no to stuff. Like there was a lot of things I just said no to, right? Like there was like I don't know if you remember Bell Let's Talk. It was like this mobile company was using mental health
I worked
to like
at Best Buy and we had to promote that shit. And then the hashtag about it went around, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna keep quiet and just be like, hey man, I hope you're doing good. I'm not gonna do this hashtag shit. Just like I was made more aware of the day, and I was like, cool. I don't need to put that hashtag next to it. I'm just gonna talk to some homies. But like,
yeah. So I just, well, first of all, I think it's fucked up that they're using mental health to like promote an app, and they're still doing it. It's just like the most capitalistic, like nonsensical shit ever. And yeah, so I guess they started approaching a bunch of Degrassi actors to be in their ads, and I was one of them. And I said no. My agent wanted to talk me into it because he's like, they'll give you so much money. They'll give you so much money. Your face is going to be everywhere. And I was just like, no.
yeah, like I can see how some people can maybe mentally try to sign off on it, like with the good, trying to like forget, like create an illusion for themselves on how they can be justified and feel righteous about it. But still, in the day, you just took the bag. Like
I know,
that's, and I'll congratulate you on that too, because I think it takes a lot more gusto to say no to the bag and just do things the right way and your way, rather than be a part of a world of grifters. Because there's a lot of grifting across the world, whether it's like any aspect of entertainment, and it's sad watching people get fooled into that. The whole like don't meet your heroes almost gets put to a huge forefront on that, especially when do you remember? God, it was at the start of COVID when there like a bunch of actors did like the FaceTime sing song together, like a few months into everything, and it was like, guys, you don't get it at all.
This is not saving any fucking lives right now.
No. And you just see every name there being like, oh, well, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Oh, no, fuck you, no.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking stupid. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there's just like, honestly, there's an endless amount of like bullshit and fake shit in the industry. Like, I don't know if you know about We Charity too. That's another thing that's like super tied in with a lot of entertainment companies. But anyways, yeah, I said no.
Move on. Yeah, well, we'll move past that. Once you wrapped that aspect of your life up, did you just go right into playing with bands? Were you doing that already, or like?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you were keeping like. That must have been a lot. Doing everything like that at once. Like, power to you. That's a lot of commitment, but I just can imagine like, damn.
Yeah, I was definitely overworked at a couple times. You know, I mean, working in film is incredibly fucking tiring. It's just like months of your life is like completely dedicated to that. Not even just as an actor. If you're anybody working on a film, it's just like, you know, it's a life that just consumes your life. But yeah, I was like kind of playing in bands. But it was just really hard because I usually in the summer I was filming, and summer is festival season.
Yep.
So I didn't really like seriously be in a band at that point. Like I could just kind of jam with bands, and I was just kind of in and out of a couple projects. And I recorded a couple ideas of my own at home, but I never like released any of it. I just, you know, kind of just wanted to, I guess, gain a little more musical experience before I started a solo project.
That's fair. And that's the best way to do it too. Just being a part of like groups of musicians, whether you go out and play or not, or just jam whenever you can. Just getting in the room with people. That's really huge on just developing yourself as a musician in whatever avenue you do, because you end up learning so much more than you originally like think based off just bouncing off the people in the room.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And that's how I learned. Like I never had any guitar lessons or any formal training. Like I am completely self-taught on the internet, and just by other buskers and by playing in metal bands, because everyone around you is so talented. And again, that competitive edge comes in, where you're just like, you know, you want to be faster and like louder than the other guy, and like, you know, he's got that cool effects pedal. Now I want that cool effects pedal. Like,
oh god, your envy can set in so bad when that happens. Like, hey dude, check out this new distortion pedal I got. Dude, check out this new amp head I got. Dude, check out, like, the drummer comes in, dude, check out this new drum kit. And we're like, holy fucking hell, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I'm definitely. Yeah, and I shared a jam space with Archspire actually way back in the day. That was pretty fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I know those guys, and seeing them progress was pretty amazing. But that jam space, like before they were famous or anything, it was like there was like 7 bands in this one tiny space, like kind of like near the Olympic Village, like when it was still like super industrial, and the ceilings were like super low. Like this like narrow pathway that you had to follow between all the gear to like find somewhere to like stand or like get to the back or whatever. Like it was just so funny, like how cluttered it was.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I love all these funny little things about my musical journey, and again, being around such competent musicians like is just like it always just inspires me to like be better and not to stop practicing.
No, it's that inspirative aspect of the competition. That's really cool. I'm also kind of like still a little transfixed on the whole Archspire thing back in the day. Not because like you know them, but Archspire is a band. It blows me away that such a niche style band has gotten as big as they have throughout the past few years, and they're also goddamn good at what they do as well. Like it's like they are in a league of their own, especially like what's the vocalist's name? It's not Ollie, is it?
Oh yeah, Oliver.
Oliver. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not my particular style of music that I would go for on a listen, but I can't help but just be like, God damn, how do you do that shit? Impressive isn't even like beginning to scratch the surface on what I want to say about those vocals. Like his
He plays didgeridoo.
Okay, so I gotta grab my didgeridoo and practice more. That's all I need to do now. Okay. That's
He
the
plays
secret.
the fucking didgeridoo. He was a pro didgeridoo player, I think, before he was even a metal vocalist, supposedly. Apparently that's a really and it's true. I mean, like, you know, that I guess the way you make sound in didgeridoo is really good for I guess like
Vocal control.
Yeah, vocal control and circular breathing. So
Okay, so mental note, if I ever have him on the show, have my didgeridoo on hand for the very like first shot. Just be like, hey man, I heard a story. I heard you didgeridoo.
yeah. Yeah, get him to play didgeridoo. I don't know if he will.
Oh, I'll just do it for his reaction. Like that, if he goes for his own didgeridoo, then that's just the cherry on top. Like,
oh my god.
With that, like, because you mentioned you busk. I know, like, you played bass in Fifth Circle, but like, what other instruments do you play as a self-taught musician? I almost turned into Sylvester or whatever. What's the pig's name again?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Porky. Oh, it's Porky, of course.
Yeah. I play the bass. I have a 6-string fretless. I mean, I don't know. I have all my instruments here.
Oh yes, I like show and tell.
I have my 6-string fretless bass. The person who had it before, the person I bought it from, took the frets off. So this is a Sound Gear by Ibanez, and it wasn't created fretless.
They just took the frets out.
Yeah, so the fret markers are still there, but I'm saving up for a new fretless.
That's still a smexy bass.
I love it. I'm very like emotionally attached to it, even though like it could sound better recorded. But yeah, and then let's see. I've got a where are these? I play banjo.
No! Fuck yeah! There it is.
Anyway, that's something.
Dope.
I mean, you know, there's limited use for a banjo, but it's a really useful thing to have. I did make I made a demo song with banjo. It's called Goth Girl Summer.
I love how the spooky thing is just kind of something you have as like, no, that's probably going to be there like all the time. That's definitely a huge part.
Yeah, spooky. Spooky's kind of my thing. You know, it's yeah. I play keyboards.
Oh, really? That's cool. I guess that definitely helps with production as well.
Yeah. I've got this like kind of old Yamaha keyboard that I play with. And then I have a drum pad. So I can't play real drums worth shit. But I've got this rolly pad.
Ooh.
It's freaking awesome. I love it because, like, I mean, Rolly's just really, just their library of sounds is amazing, and it's just like already like the production quality of it is really good.
So does that have like a bunch of different sensor points on it?
Yeah. So it works a lot like a real drum, like if you would have like an electric drum kit, and you know how like it can sense like how hard you press it.
Yeah.
So you could do accents and things like that. It has that capability, and it literally fits in my backpack. So like sometimes I just like bring it with me to Vancouver, like, you know.
See, this is the shit that makes me like stoked and happy to be a musician in this time and like time and place. Can you imagine trying to like do anything like that back in the 90s or 80s? Hey guys, let me just haul my entire van's worth of shit over here so we can try to like do
Like there's definitely, there's a lot of things that like you can only get with a real drummer, and that's why I truly don't think that electric drums will ever fully replace them. But I mean, it's definitely useful to have little gadgets like these because I don't really like, I can't afford a full drum kit right now.
Well, not only that, like it's so portable, like inspiration on the fly. Now you have something you can just fuck with if you take it with you somewhere.
Yeah.
Ooh. Eh.
This is my 7-string guitar.
Fan of Ibanez, I see.
Yeah, it's another Ibanez. I don't know. They fucking make good instruments. What can I say? Like
the bodies are really nice and thin. That's one thing I like about Ibanez. Like the necks and the bodies are nice and thin. They don't feel like bulky instruments.
Yeah, and I'm really small, so it helps to have a light instrument. Sometimes my back literally gets sore because my bass is so big, and that's something I don't admit very often.
I remember in my young days being like, no, I'm going to get the heavy strap, heavy guitar. Nothing bad will happen. After a few sets, I need either a different guitar or a different strap or both. This is not good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm saving up for a bass that doesn't have a headstock because that makes it less top heavy. Ooh. But obviously instruments without headstocks are more expensive for some reason. So.
Oh, did you want a specialty instrument? Capitalism says you'll pay more for that.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, what can I say, right?
Yeah.
And this is my 5-string fretted.
Oh, I like the body on that. That's really nice.
It's really, really high action on here though, but so it's kind of like, it's very like, but it's good for like slapping and stuff. It's got that like, that capability, right?
Yeah. I like really, it to slap. So that.
Like you can like really like,
do the Berber ding. Do the Berber ding.
What can you Berber? What is it? It's like.
Bum, bum, bam, 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 bam.
What does he even do? Is it like it's just like a bar chord, isn't it, or something? Like I don't anything. He's just like boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
He's just sliding up and down. He's like, yeah, that sounds fucking cool. Little did he know that would become the metal meme of the century.
Berber ding.
Yeah, Berber ding. It's no longer metal, guys. It's officially we listen to Berber ding.
I think that's definitely one of my favorite things from the internet in the past few years is Berber ding for sure.
That's something that for me will never get old because it hits a nostalgic vibe, and then I don't know, like as a bassist, I just appreciate it on a whole nother level. It's just like I can slap.
Oh yeah, right. It was
anyway. Good old martini. What was when did you join the Fifth Circle? Like, are you an OG member, or did you come in after they had already started?
I came in after they had already started. In what year was that? That would have been. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I think 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, 2017 when I joined. Yeah, and it was actually kind of funny how I met them, because a band I was in previously that I just wasn't having a good time in. Had played some gigs with the Fifth Circle, with their previous lineup, and then I just like I don't know, I was having a bad night. I was like really like anxious before going on stage, and they like offered me some shots in the green room, and they were like super nice to me, and I was like instantly friends with them. And then a few weeks later, they let me know, hey, yeah, we're looking for a bassist. I'm just like, okay, so yeah, I just came in and learned some of the songs and joined, and we had a great time, and we put out a full-length album. That was a lot of fun. I did the art for that.
Oh hell yeah.
That was it wasn't anything too like crazy. It was just just really scenic, kind of bright watercolors. I kind of wanted to like set it apart from like typical metal album artwork. So we made it really like pretty and like light and colorful, even though the riffage is I don't know, pretty heavy if you ask me.
Does the artwork match the band? Find out.
Yeah. We have there was a pretty song on that album. Yeah.
There's one. That one justifies everything. I honestly like when the artwork kind of like subverts your expectation. like going in. Like I'm actually looking at the Vigilante like artwork that's on the thumbnail. I'm like, you can see that and think you're gonna get some like basement black metal. Like just like the way like the artwork looks like. Yeah, no, we got snow. We got like very gothic looking font. We have someone with a weapon. Yeah, I think we have a black metal band, guys. And that's happened to me a few times on this show, actually, where I'll see the thumbnail or the artist name and song name and be like, all right, here we go. Get into the first few seconds, like, oh, yeah, I know what we're about to expect. And then 30 seconds later, I'm like, do I even music? I thought I knew what was up, but apparently I was out over there.
Well, it's funny because I do really love black metal, and I don't know, in my songwriting I do take influence from it, but it might not be very obvious in that stuff. But I do have some more songs that are definitely more black metal-ish. They're just unreleased.
Okay.
So, but I feel like, I don't know. I mean, the concept of black metal is really like low. I don't want to say low production quality, but like, you know, the production is fairly simple, whereas like, I mean, technology's changed, right? So, you know, I feel like if a black metal artist had access to like a little drum pad, you know, they might have made something similar, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I find the main thing, aside from like old school black metal, honestly sounds like that has gone to basement, put a mic in front, like one singular mic in the room with the vocalist as like near it so that he could be heard over everything and just went. But I've noticed the main one is there's a lot of reverb. Like, I like the atmospheric aspect of black metal. The origins always make me a little shaky because I read the heavy metal encyclopedia. I know about the Norway scene, so that like while getting into metal, I guess that's something that made me go, I don't know about this. Maybe I'll check out Dark Throne. Yeah, and they were actually pretty impressive. I was stupid impressed when I listened to them. And went, oh, this is two people.
I love Dark Throne.
They have an interesting vibe. Like, I will say that the one black metal band where I actually own their albums, and as weird as to say, as much as I'm not a huge fan of their music, they definitely inspired the whole of like, oh yeah, you don't need a full fucking band. Like, you can find the people to play live, but when it comes to writing shit, one or two people, you can fucking do this. Look at the liner. It's just two people.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, do you know the Mars Volta? They're not black metal, but.
Yeah, and they're back now too, aren't they?
Have you heard their new album?
No, I didn't. I knew they were back. I didn't know there was a new album. Let me quickly write that down.
Omar produced it, the guitarist. He produced it. It's just him and Cedric. They just made a whole fucking album. It's got electric drums on it. It's really cool.
Okay, that's...
Some people didn't like it, but I loved it.
Hey, no, Mars Volta, man, like, they were intense, and it's weird. Whenever I hear them, I can't get Jonah Hill's face out of my mind. When he's like, I got us tickets to the Mars Volta.
What?
Yeah, no, I can get him to the Greek. He buys his girlfriend tickets to the Mars Volta. Like, and that's like the start to his whole thing before he has to go off in his like entire thing with Russell Brand. And she's like, who? And they just puts on one of the, like a part of a song where the vocalist is just wailing. And he's like,
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's in Get Him to the Greek. Oh, man. I'm never going to get that out of my mind. That's the first thing that pops. Oh, weird. Like 2009 comedy with Russell Brand. So, you know, I got to rewatch it, actually. It's been so long. I'm sure like some of it hasn't aged well, as seems to be the thing with comedy, but is what it is. Times change, and that's just how it is. But, you know, smoking a Jeffrey and stroking the furry wall. I don't think I'm ever going to forget that part either.
Yep. Just pet the furry wall.
just pet it. Just pet it. See, it's all good. It's all good. See, it's all good. See, we're calm. Just stroke the furry wall.
And then they do a musical number.
Yeah, at the very end.
Furry walls.
Furry walls. When light gets you down, stroke the furry wall.
Yeah.
Oh, that was too good. What were the main things you took away, like when you joined the Fifth Circle, what were the main things that you learned while in that project? Because coming from a project that you weren't really having a lot of fun in and probably weren't jiving it a whole lot, and then going into one where before you're even in the band, you're in the band essentially. Like, seems like they kind of recruited you that night. We're just like, hey, come here, let's hang. Okay, no, you're pretty fucking cool. All right, and so customony will wait 2 weeks before we text, right? Like, we don't want to seem needy, so okay, 2 weeks.
It might have been longer than 2 weeks. I don't know, but it's
just that's how I'm visually like mapping the scenario in a comedic thread. Like they're just like, no, we've already made up our mind, but we don't want to seem too needy, so we're just gonna make reminder 2 weeks from now. Cool.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was nice to have friends. It was nice to have a group that to work with that I felt appreciated by. That was kind of, a recurring problem for me. I felt very unappreciated in some other projects I had tried to kind of be a part of, and not entirely to like it doesn't mean it's anybody's fault really. It's just kind of like, I guess I'm somebody who likes to definitely have a hand in writing, and I have a lot of ideas, and then when I feel like my ideas are getting shot down, or like one other person just wants it to be their ideas, like sometimes you have to respect that as a band member, but then sometimes it's kind of like you want to have more creative control. And I mean that's why I think I operate well as a solo artist, right? Because I can just like do collaborations where I see fit.
Yeah, no, I get that. And with a lot of projects too, I find conflict comes from those situations when it's not talked about within the project. Like what are everyone's roles within the project? Like, are we all on board with the idea of like collaborating together and writing together? Does it seem like these other people seem to have the actual vision that everyone's behind? Do we lean more on them while everyone else does other things? But if the band doesn't really have the ability to communicate that, a lot of conflict can come out of that. Because then, like you say, you can have the situations where one person has some probably really good ideas, but someone else thinks their idea is better and that they should go in this other direction. And no progress actually happens because there's no cohesive, I guess, oh, God damn it, I had the word and then completely love when that happens. No cohesiveness between everyone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's like, and that's the thing. It's like everyone thinks their idea is the best, right? And I just think that anyone who I guess has a strong artistic mind needs to have something that's theirs as an outlet. And I, I'd be happy to join a band like, alongside my solo project too. It's not to say that I don't like being in bands, but I do feel like having something that's just mine and mine alone is really important.
I imagine it feels really nice to be able to do something completely yourself and put it out under your moniker and like know it's truly yours and not like a byproduct of a bunch of different people, but you being like, no, I did the beat, I did the vocals, I did all of this. Fuck yeah. This is just me.
Yeah, and I think it's important, to build a resume for yourself too as an artist, to make sure everybody knows what you can do. And even if the first few songs you put out, like obviously the first couple of songs I mixed myself, the mix isn't probably the best mix that anyone's ever heard, but like I still put it out just because 10 years from now I can look back on that and be like, hey, I've come a long way. Because I just feel like that's important, just for artistic integrity. I think like expecting everything you put out to be like the best of the best is just like totally unrealistic.
I've never understood the mindset of trying to erase your musical past, even if you're not impressed by it. Like, I have a lot of things I've released in the past that I can look back on and cringe and be like, ugh. But that's because I can look at it with the lens of progressing because of whatever I did there and allowing that to be what it was and be where I was, or in your case with your stuff, be where you were at that point in time. Because if that doesn't happen, whatever happens next doesn't happen, and it continues from there. And it almost feels disingenuous when artists try to erase that backlog of stuff in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also, yeah, like I said, it's just kind of like weird and unrealistic too, because no matter what, like there's always like, you know, there's always going to be like somebody that's like, you know, doing something you wish you could be doing and whatever. And like, you know, and just having an artistic backlog too, it's important even just for like technical reasons of the business. You know, for example, if you're applying for funding, right? Or if you want to pitch yourself to a record company, like you need demos, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, demos, that's why they're called demos, because they're not, you know, they're not a final mix, but it's just so people know what you can do, you know, and it's especially, you know, as a female artist, I think it's important too, because usually when, you know, when people approach you as an artist, or if you approach them, like I've had lots of people approach me as an artist assuming I'm a singer, which is like insane to me because I had my start as a bass player. But they just see that I'm a girl and they're like, hey, do you want to sing on my song for free? I need somebody to sing a hook. I'm like, do you know who the fuck I am?
Just
like
the assumption, oh, she's a female in music, she must sing. Like
can sing and whatever, like, you know, but it's like people think I like want to sing on their track because I'm a female musician for free and stuff. Like they think I need the exposure and like.
No, I think
it's also like
based off what we've talked about, I think you are probably the person who would need that the least out of everyone I've talked to be honest.
it's just funny though, you know, or like, yeah, a lot of people just assume that I'm like a singer, which is funny, and it's literally a gender thing. It's hilarious.
And that's the weird thing, like with like, I guess like having as a male, like hearing that, it sounds just completely like ridiculous. Like, wow, you have to deal with that? That seems like how, but also it's like that realization of like, just because that's not my mindset, probably more so based off how I was raised and the things that like occurred in my life to allow me to grow up, doesn't mean that's necessarily the mindset of everyone else, which is really just, for me, it's odd. But also I find a lot of behavior by certain types of individuals just odd based off just that mindset of being like, why would make why would you make that assumption? Like, what led you to this conclusion?
I feel like when people have that mindset, I don't think they're truly musically inclined, because if they were actually musically inclined, they know how, like, you know, just how equal it actually really is. Like there's tons of women who play instruments. It's not like it's a new thing.
Well, yeah. God, I can't remember her name right off the top of my head because I'm uber stoned, but there's one extremely popular guitarist who happens to be female who's been killing it like across genres since back when Michael Jackson was alive, because she was his live guitarist too towards the end of everything. Yeah. I thought it was her.
She released a Shred album and it's dope.
Yeah. Like she's fucking amazing. I remember because I watched the This Is It thing that came out after MJ passed, just because it was like, oh man, A, that sucks, but also like I'm curious, like what was this show supposed to be like? They're letting us watch it. I just like, fuck it, let's watch everyone who is a part of this thing do the thing. And that's when I was introduced to Nita Strauss, and I was like, shit. Man, there's a bunch of guitarists out there that need to step their game up, because I don't think anyone realizes how good she is. That like, it's not just flawless, but seamless. Like that, like true. I think you only see in a lot of virtuoso musicians where it really feels like the guitar is not separate from them in any way. It is just an extension of them, and they could do the stupidest shit with their torso. Their fingers are still going to make sure everything sounds exactly how it needs to be. Like Steve Vai is the best example of that. Mr. I'm a weave with my whammy bar. I'm dancing, casting some spells.
And playing guitar on stage is fucking hard. Like to me, like I get really bad like stage anxiety. So I like having a bass because I really have to like wail on the strings to get them to make a sound. And that I guess helps me channel my anxiety. But like anytime I've tried to play guitar on stage, I'm so fucking shaky, and it's such a tiny instrument that like I always fuck up.
Especially like because you play a 6-string, so I also play 6-string bass, so I know you probably have this too, where you're like, oh yeah, 6-string bass. Look at all that space I have, like the stretches, all this, and you get a guitar, even if it's a 6-string or a 7-string, you're like, how you play so small? How do you do this?
Yeah, exactly. It's really yeah, you have to like always have to like rework my muscle memory. I switch instruments more now that I've been producing at home, so I'm getting a bit better at it, but I don't think I'm gonna do guitar and bass on too many live songs going forward.
Understanding where the strengths lie, like we said earlier, very key. When you transitioned, and I know we've talked about like some of the stuff with your main project now, but like, what are some of your focuses right now that you're gone through all that, you've gone through learning what you want to do to express yourself a lot more, I feel, especially like looking through like the few tracks up on YouTube and then talking with you, like what are you kind of, not in 5 years, because I feel like that was a bit too much. I feel like just this year, like this time next year, not so much what is it that you want to achieve, but like what are the things that you're building to get over? I guess those hurdles you see right now that you're getting ready to get over.
Well, I need to get a new laptop, so
Damn technology.
I can finish. Yeah, I have all these almost finished songs stuck in my laptop, and it's screwed up. So they have a financing option, I found out. So like where you can like pay a little bit monthly, which is pretty cool, actually. I think more people should know that. But yeah, so I wait for that to come in and upload all my tracks from my my hard drive and yeah, get them finished, because just the formats I have them in aren't really like, they're just MP3s, like I can't edit them. So yeah, like so Vigilante actually I made entirely on a tablet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, that's I got more things to be intrigued by when we listen to it.
Yeah, I hadn't put anything out for a long time, and a lot of my, kind of, I guess like more, like better production quality songs they're all stuck on my computer, and I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna release a shitty demo, like whatever, right? And then I actually put a lot of time into it, and I made it entirely on BandLab, which is it's a music editing app that you can have on a phone.
Originally Cakewalk by Roland, now Cakewalk by BandLab, I do believe. Or it used to be Sonar.
I don't think it's even called Cakewalk anymore. It's just BandLab. It's like an app. And then so like they weren't loops or anything. Like I made the drums and everything and the melodies all myself. And then I just I decided to rap and record bass on it. But the cool thing is that because these apps are so new, there's a lot of things that you can actually do in them that are actually a lot harder to do in more complex editing systems. For example, changing the pitch of a sample, changing the speed of a sample is ridiculously easy on this app. So I was having all this fun, like slowing things down and speeding them up, like all these, like I used a Sesame Street sample at the end. And so I turned it down to make it sound demonic, and then like slowed it down to make it go with the metronome a little bit better. And like,
oh, damn. Okay. That's really cool to hear.
It's really easy to do on this program. It was so funny.
I got to check out I got to get a tablet first and then check it out, because what's funny is what that program originally was, Sonar, I got with my first ever 2-channel interface, and then I ended up buying like the full version. So in that brief little time period where you couldn't get it and update anything and it wasn't available to anyone yet, I had to keep going into my emails to get the full version, because honestly, the bass and the drum VSTs for just starting and writing, perfect. The interface, my God, what a confusing first one to start with. I remember the first time I loaded that up and I just went, huh? What is, how, shit. And it's cool seeing it go from that, like a paid, like $500 professional DAW, to like just be this free thing that people not only can use to write with, but now has a community with the BandLab integration as well. Because hearing you talk about how you utilize that makes me so happy that thing exists. Because I used to just download being like, I just want my VSTs. I want my drum VST back. Give that back.
Yeah, a lot of the presets on there are actually really like good too. It's surprisingly good. And then they even have like a free mastering software now that is honestly like sounds fine.
I'm gonna keep that in mind. I haven't updated from there recently, so I might have to dabble in that because I don't like looking at plugins often because when that happens, I spend money I shouldn't be spending, especially this time of year when everyone has sales and like, hey, buy two, get a third for like $5. Come on, you know you want them. Dangle that carrot in front. But so especially this time of year, I try to stay away from it. But still, like Cakewalk has our Band Lab. I'm going to always call it Cakewalk just because I accept my age. But Band Lab is fucking amazing, and it's cool that you use that because I find everyone kind of either uses Reaper, Pro Tools. What's Studio One? Is that the one that I hear a lot more about now? And then Ableton. My God, that thing is.
I like using Ableton and Reaper.
Hello, Reaper friend. Yes.
I like Reaper. Reaper is the one I'm most like familiar with because I've been using it for the longest time, and it's just like simple. And there's a lot of things you can do on there. It's just like a lot of possibilities. Yes, it's very technical and like, it's got a very like boring, like weird interface, but like
you can customize it though. You can make it look so much nicer. Just look for the themes and skins and you're like, oh yeah, look at this. It's not that gross gray. What the fuck why would you make that your default, Reaper?
It's such a boring looking interface, but it's like so, and like you said, it's so versatile. Like you can do anything with it. Like, but there are some things that, like, sometimes it randomly crashes and stuff, but like, for the most part, it's pretty good.
As long as you have your backup like thing set, you're great. But the amount of times it took a Reaper crash before I did that, because I remember just like, oh, we'll just work for a bit, be sure to save every while. And then 2 hours in, you're like, when I saved recently, right? Yeah. And oh no. Oh, yeah. I just finished editing the guitars.
Yeah, that's happened to me a couple times. I mean, that happened with my MacBook because it just like, it was just like an old refurbished Mac that I was using and it just crashed while I was in the middle of making a song.
That is the biggest inspiration killer. Whenever technology hits you like that while you're in the midst of writing, you're like either have to stop completely or take a half hour just to restart, reroute, do whatever the hell it is you need to do. You're like, I just want to write. I had everything set up. I picked whatever sound I wanted. I was ready to go. Why? What's your favorite thing to do as a producer then? Because I know now we're getting to some of the nerdy stuff because like the more we talk, I'm like, good, Reaper, good, yes. What are some of your favorite things to do within a DAW, like work on? Do you because I know everyone kind of has their main things that they absolutely love about it once they get into it.
I honestly really love just going through the sound library and fucking around. Sometimes I do that for hours. I do that for hours. I fuck with the settings and I'm just like, woo. But also like not even because like I haven't had like a working laptop for a few monets now, it was just one of those expenses. Like I couldn't handle it at the time. I was like, hey, I'm just gonna have to go a few months without one. It's gonna be okay, right? But I have a loop pedal and I love just live looping and messing around with that.
That's cool. That takes a lot of skill too, because it self tempo is something a lot of people struggle with if they don't have a metronome or like a beat going for them. But the things you can do with a loop pedal are absolutely amazing. So it's cool that you, in the absence of the studio in the box and the computer, that you're still finding other ways to still like keep your mind going and still be musically creative. Because I know, I think now, especially in the modern age, it's very easy for us to forget how to do things without our computers sometimes.
100%. And, in the end, I do want to be able to, I never want to be a musician that's just like, pressing play on stage and then dancing around, obviously. Like, even though I am doing a lot more electronic stuff, I like to have some level of live musicianship. So, I mean, definitely getting more comfortable. Like I just wrote a song that's entirely a live looping song that, that I could play live with literally no computer if I wanted to, right? So,
you should do it.
yeah.
Do it up. Not something
Yeah,
you think you should. You should. I think that'd be really cool. Because I think that would definitely stand out, because you don't see that often, especially in hip hop. Just from like what I've observed in shows locally here. Usually it's here's the thumb drive, play these tracks, or I'll cue you, or here's the entire set in one file, just hit play and go. And it's like, it's respectful.
Yeah, but it can make like gigging kind of difficult as well, because I am aware that my music is a niche genre and it doesn't always fit on every bill, but like at hip hop shows they never have a changeover.
That's right. It's just like instant go. Because have you noticed with hip hop shows that they very much overbook bills? Like there's way more on one bill than there needs to be. Like everyone's like really punched in. You get X amount of time, and you're just cycling through rapper after rapper after rapper.
It happens. I mean, there are a lot of musicians in Vancouver, and I mean, it is a really strong community. It's definitely gotten stronger this year as well. My friends in Icon Hip Hop have been doing really cool work. They've been holding ciphers every week, and they have a videographer and everything. They're like a team of people, and they're all volunteer. Like, the events are free, and they have a YouTube channel. They're pretty cool. But like a lot of local rappers have been getting a bit of popularity through that, and yeah, I think the community is just doing a lot of cool things these days. I mean, Mercules, I don't know if you listen to him at all. I don't really listen to him.
I've worked sound for Mercules when he came through here.
Yeah. So he got signed to Death Row, which is like huge for Vancouver hip hop, right? So
Damn!
I think in Vancouver, like the hip hop scene is definitely pushing really hard, and there's a lot of artists that are like really giving it a go this year, which is good. And the community is really strong and supportive too. And I think that's why you end up with so many on one bill, is that like everybody just says yes to everybody.
You know what? That's fair. I'd rather it be a case of that rather than a case of like, we just got to like cram as many people in as we can so we can get as many people through the door as we can. So we got as many paying people as we can. Fuck the performers. 15 minutes. Fuck it. One after another, after another, after another. Just bring them in. Because I know, because that's unfortunately a side of promotion that does exist. I find it's phasing itself out because less and less artists are really willing to deal with that kind of shit, because it takes the fun away from everything, like having to deal with that stuff. And I'm glad that you brought up that your music community is like strengthening and like doing more, because I've noticed just this summer being I guess thankful enough and able to go out and explore a few different festivals in different communities and see how those have all grown. It's been really inspiring this year, just being like, fuck yeah. They're all of these little areas that are doing their own things aren't just like doing their own thing and barely getting by. They are growing. Their mentalities are inspiring more people to come in and do more. And from everywhere to Armstrong Metal Fest, Loud as Hell, the guys that do Alt Waves here in Medicine Hat, but especially things like Moments Fest at Sick Sick Nation. Like, that stuff's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I know Carlin. His band played at my festival actually this past summer, but I've been meaning to go. It's just like I work always interferes with it, and I'm so mad that I haven't been yet because I keep planning to go, and then work always.
I hate when that happens, because there's a lot of really awesome people that can't make every event. I'm sure you'll get there sooner rather than later one of these years. And Carlin's a fucking sweetheart. I love that guy.
He's awesome. He's so cool.
He really is. We've talked about a lot. You've given us a lot of your time this evening. Is there anything else that you particularly would want to touch on, or?
Not really. I smoked half a blunt to myself. So.
Don't worry. I've had a few hoots along the way too. I was like, oh, we're toking together. I like this. Half the time when my guests are on, I'm like, I don't know if I have to do it stealthily or not, because they're not doing anything. So I guess we'll be a bit more professional. So it's been awesome having a token buddy this time. Toking buddy. Jeez. There.
Yeah, this has been great. I've been thinking of making a Twitch account myself. I might do it. I don't know. I don't really know how it works.
If you ever have questions, you have me in Discord, you have me on Facebook. Feel free to reach out. I only know so much, But there's a few people even within my community or people that I know that have helped me a lot. And anything that I can do to help out where I can, just reach out and I'll do what I can.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like I don't know if there's like an audience for like live looping and things like that, but I was thinking of doing that on Twitch.
It's surprising. There's almost an audience for anything on Twitch. It's really just how well you engage with the audience. And honestly, some of the guys in the chat or guys and gals in the chat brought up right at the start, like within the first half hour, being like, "Oh no, she's really a natural on camera. Like she's got a really solid personality. Knows like just you come across really organic." And then you brought up the Degrassi thing. I was like, that makes a whole lot of sense. But going to like the Twitch aspect, I think taking your experience as an entertainer, I think you'd do fairly well. There's always that slug. There's like in anything new, like starting a new YouTube or new Facebook group or whatever the hell you're trying to do. There's always that few weeks or few months of just like plowing through the trenches, getting out, just getting in a routine. But at a certain point, you know, people show up, people have a good time. And as long as you're a fun person, hey, everyone's good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, okay, well, maybe I'll look into it. Yeah, I've had a couple people tell me I should. I just haven't done it yet.
I think you do really well. For anyone watching, where can they find you on social media platforms?
So I'm on Instagram. My handle is Naguset Donna G. NAKUSET DONNAG. And then I'm on Twitter too, but I honestly nothing. I don't know. I don't like Twitter. I'm not
like
gonna
Twitter even less now.
Let's not talk about Twitter.
No.
We don't know her.
We don't talk about her here, guys. She don't go here.
I'm deleting TikTok.
Yeah, I tried TikTok, and I'm really glad I don't go back because there were times where I would just be like, how is a fucking half hour passed?
No, getting sucked into scrolling's bad, and also like it's so bad for your brain not only, but it's like just all the stuff that's behind TikTok. Like again, I don't want to get into it right now, but like it's basically like a giant like distraction that's like designed to just like keep people in this like zombified state.
This will be the only time I will ever advise someone maybe go check out Cody Shoddy at Somewhere News. They have quite a bit of good breakdowns on things like TikTok. If you want to A, learn something, and B, maybe feel like how he looks by the end of the video.
I know, yeah, it's fucking like no TikTok. I mean, yeah, there's some cool content creators on there, but like, anyways, yeah, I shouldn't go into it, but I'm deleting TikTok.
No,
so yeah, I guess I'm on Instagram, and then my link tree is in my Instagram. So like all the links to like my SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and my YouTube channel are on there. I'm hoping to finish it like an EP by I don't know within the next few months. It just kind of depends when my laptop gets here, but yeah. So.
Well,
yeah.
Well, everyone, go there. I gave you guys the Instagram in the chat. So if you go there, everything else will be in the link tree in the description. Go follow all the socials. Go to Spotify. Go to YouTube. Give Donna some love. And Donna, thank you again for being on the show. You have been a pleasure. Once again, if you do decide to get into Twitch and you need any help, feel free to reach out. I don't know how much help I will be, but I can at least get the starting blocks.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been really great.
No problem. You take care. And guys, we're going to send her off with her own song. We're going to check out Vigilante. So.
And his name is
John now we're getting hit with the John C. Yeah. Thank you. You guys have been so good in not using that. You know they've been waiting. You know they've been waiting. Donna, you take care. Thank you. Have a great night. And until next time, peace be to you.
Bye.
Okay. She's awesome. She's fucking awesome. I'm not like, she is fucking.